and it's preparing my Zoom to my YouTube account. It's setting that up so I don't have to get out of Zoom. I don't have to later on upload my file. I can have it done. And maybe what we'll do later is we'll even create podcasts. They'll be nice too, right, Spencer? We'll learn how to do podcasts, and we can even as part of our projects. Okay, Spencer, if you can be so kind and give me feedback on how people are doing with their back testing exercises and how many people have had issues there. If you can see if that's everybody's been signed in. Okay, so everybody is here. Everybody's camera, unless you've gotten special permission, are up and running and camera work. Okay, welcome everybody. Today is another lovely day. And what I want to do is let you know a couple of things. We have an exam next week, and I'd like you to be well prepared and know the material well and not be overwhelmed. So tonight I'll give you a review sheet and explain how the exam is, number one. Number two, I will go over the ideas of automated trading systems. I will talk about back testing. I will talk about selecting one symbol versus selecting many symbols, and also talk about optimization. I'll also review security, and we'll probably be after that. I'll end class. You can stay with me, answer any questions you have, and we'll go on from there. Okay, so I have Chase and Spencer monitoring it. Let me know if there are additional questions, and feel free to unmic yourself at the appropriate spot, and you can let me know what is not clear, because that's my goal here, is to make it simple and clear. And as my motto is, everything's easy when you know it, right? So once we get that done, we're right. So Arnold, Ethan, and Martin, let's see your faces and we'll begin. Okay, okay, Ethan and Martin. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. I'm going to share, and right now I want to go to Chrome, and you can see that I can see a lot of lovely faces. I can see also, you can see it's powered by Zoom, and we even have our logo. So we're ready to go on that aspect. And now I need to be in section J, and let us do this. Everybody go to what's due. And if we go to what's due, let's go to what's due today, which is Wednesday, February 28th. And what was due today is, you can see that we had the automated trading systems backtesting exercise, which was due today, where we want to make sure, I want to make sure here that we discover the highest net profit, especially overall. So each person in your group needed to choose a different ticker symbol, and we were using for this first exercise one ticker symbol, and you had to find a profitable one. If you found one that wasn't profitable, then you needed to pick another symbol and keep on picking symbols until you found one, using our selected SMA crossover sample, using two moving averages. One was by 10 periods and the other one was 25 periods. and we made sure we enabled the strategy, and we exported that strategy to Excel, and we uploaded that to the group, and we made sure that we would then include your full name, your ticker name and symbol, the strategy name and parameters, and the net profit overall, long and short. And what's important is the data range. And then you can see right here, we have, for instance, SMA crossover 1025. NVIDIA here in this case was 57.76, and we have the student's name. For Monday is we went over it last time, what we called the SMA using, in this case, let me just add one thing. We used the strategy analyzer. And in this exercise, we are using the strategy analyzer rather than using one symbol. We could do a group of symbols. So you could make, in this case, Audria, you could make a list of symbols you were interested in. Let's say you were just interested in healthcare, or you were interested in just tech companies. But instead, we did something simple where we said, pick the NASDAQ 100 or pick the Dow 30. And then we select all of those and let, in the back testing part, we would get all the results, and we would go in ascending, in this case, descending order, where we would then get the top net profit. And in the optimizer, what the difference is we then, instead of using SMA 1025, we can use different parameters. Instead of 1025, maybe we could use 925 or 825, so we could have a range from these, and it would come up with the best possible, given a set of ranges, what would be the best combination for the highest, what do we want to maximize on our net profit that we were doing. So this was this exercise. On Wednesday, and by the way, on this back testing exercise, Spencer, how are we doing in terms of, did everybody turn it in?
For the most part, there's some missing.
Okay.
Are we making sure that the overall trades is positive, right?
Yes, we want to make sure that the overall trade, there's some that are not, right?
Yeah, so if you guys have an overall trade that is negative, please try to find another
symbol. So you know what we'll do,
that's
Spencer?
positive.
This is what I'll do. Since I say it was due on February 28th and I don't give it time, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to extend, everybody understand this, and I'm going to put this also, Chase, do me a favor, put it in the chat. Is this back, I'm going to make the back testing exercise due at midnight. So if you got negative, go back. It doesn't, how long does it take, Audria? It doesn't take long. Once you know how to do it, it takes maybe 5 minutes and you finished, right? Once you know what you're doing. So go and do the symbols to get it positive. So do the back testing exercise. I'll make it due at midnight. So that way you can get the full, the maximum amount of credit for that exercise to make at least the overall positive, because we don't want to use a back testing. Back testing doesn't necessarily mean that the future is going to be that way, but why start off with a loser symbol for that specific strategy? So that back testing exercise, that's going to be due at midnight tonight. So that'll
Also
help
make,
once
oh,
we
sorry, go
finish.
ahead. Okay.
Pardon?
Also, make sure that the Excel file is attached to your assignment. And then the last thing is just making sure that you fill out all the categories on when you post it. So like the ticker name and symbol, overall trades, what needs to be fixed and all that stuff.
Okay, and
Yeah,
then
right
you
there
have
where
that,
it's
they
right
can
there
use
on the
yours
screen.
as an example.
Yeah, mine
Spencer.
mine and Dylan's is in the group in the
Okay,
audit
perfect.
section. So if you
In
just
the
look
audit
at
section, in
ours, you
group
can see it.
0A, they can follow your lead. Perfect. Thank you, Spencer, so much. Aren't we glad to have you, Spencer? I really appreciate it. Okay, and as you know, Spencer was my student last semester, and she's basically helping out. And then this way she can kind of learn about new things as well. So, okay, that's number one. Number two, we said that we have the strategy analyzer due then on Monday, and I want to just go over that a bit today. But I first want to start off with the exam on Wednesday, March 6th. Everybody see, oh, you don't see it. Let me just unhide it. Good idea, right? So I want to make it available. So Chase, do you see it? Everybody refresh their Blackboard under what's due.
Yep, I see it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Yes, everybody sees it? On Wednesday, March 6th, everybody see that? Jericho, did you see that? So Jericho, in this case, then you have till midnight to make amends on it. And then what you can see here is everybody, you can download then this review sheet. So download this review sheet, and let me just open it. Let me see if I have it. Let me just move this. So everybody see it? You have it as well? Okay, this is a
Dr.
review.
Rush, I have a question.
Yes.
Well, it's not from me. It came up in the chat, but then it like miraculously disappeared. Is the test open note?
No,
No? Okay.
but that's a great question. I should even put that in. The exam is not open notes. The exam is completely closed, and it will be. So we'll go over that, but excellent question. Okay, the exam is Wednesday, March 6th, and it'll take place in the School of Business in the PC Lab, room 204. Right when you get off the elevators in the undergraduate wing, just it's right there in the corner. And make sure that you arrive early. And then that way everybody's ready to go and we're seated. You may have to wait a few minutes if you come too early, because I have another exam right before that. What do I want you to bring? I want you to bring a laptop and your phone. Everybody brings their phone all the time, but you need the phone. Why do you need your phone? Because you need a lot of times to get into that Duo mobile thing, right? That they're asking us for. You'll be doing your exam, closed notes, no phone, fully proctored in the PC lab. You'll be using the PCs in the lab. The reason why you're going to bring your laptop, just in case that computer doesn't work. Do we ever have problems? Jericho, in this class, we do. We want to think about backup, right? If all of a sudden that system crashes, right? That at least you'll have your laptop. So make sure on your laptop that you have installed Respondus on your laptop software, that you're able to go. I'll tell you about the exam is 2 parts. You'll log in and you'll have one part will be multiple choice, very similar to your quizzes that you've taken before. The only difference is it will not be open notes. It will be taken one time, not many times, and you will be timed. If you have extended period of time, you will be granted, and you have it documented, and if you've told me that before, you will have an opportunity to have extended time. But otherwise, you should be able to finish. Everybody finishes the exam. You may not get 100 on it, but you'll be able to finish. So that is going to be similar in format. It'll be multiple choice, true, false. After you finish that, you will log in again, and you'll have to take out your phone again just to get the dual mobile, and you'll end up with 2 open-ended questions. You will answer those 2 open-ended questions, and then you will end. These are for the multiple choice. These it basically will cover, as I said, all the chapters that we've had for the quizzes. Chapters 1, 4, 5, the TG1, the TG2. The open-ended will be on the data and automated trading systems, these last exercises that we've done in the readings. These are what I suggest you do for these weekend is you can go through all these terms. And if you're not sure about those terms, what do you think you're going to do? Like I always tell you what, Jericho, is look it up. You can look it up in the book. You can look it up in other areas, right? You know how to be able to do it. But I'm giving you the terms that will be covered on the multiple choice true false. These first 2 pages will be things that will be covered. Also, not only definitions you will be able to do is you'll need to know what are examples. So for instance, in data, information, and knowledge, you'll need to know, given a scenario, what is data, what is information, what is knowledge available. Now, you need to read, as I've told you before, some of you may have not read it again, for the first time or for the second time, you need to read these articles. One is an automated trading systems, the pros and the cons. Here are the links. The basics of algorithmic trading concepts and examples, back testing and optimization. What are the differences? Moving average. What is a simple moving average? What's the purpose? How does a fast moving average differ from a slow moving average? You need to know that. And then here are examples of open-ended questions. What are automated trading systems? What are the advantages and disadvantages? What is a simple moving average? What is its purpose? How does a fast moving differ from a slow? What are the characteristics of backtesting and optimization in automated trading systems? Here's an example. Give examples of trading rules and strategies we used in class for backtesting and optimization. NinjaTrader platform. Define an algorithmic automated trading systems. How does it differ from traditional? Describe the pros and cons of ATS, automated trading systems, and give examples you used from the NinjaTrader platform. Define big data, explain how automated trading systems are good examples of the characteristics of big data. Use the NinjaTrader platform in your examples. What is a simple moving average? What's its purpose? How does it differ? So basically, I'll give you 2 questions on the open-ended. And basically it'll be a question plus giving examples of what you did in the exercises. So if I asked you, for instance, what are the pros and cons of automated trading systems, and just in bullet points, you just list it, you list 8, 4 pros, 4 cons, and that's all you do, you will not get full credit for that. You need to elaborate, plus you need to give examples from NinjaTrader using the pros and cons. How do I suggest you prepare? I suggest you go through this. I suggest you have access to to your quizzes. Go over your quizzes. I suggest you go over the PowerPoints. And also, at the end of the readings, there's a summary. I suggest you go through the summary from the readings. And let me show you one more thing to do for the exam. Hopefully those that are conscientious will start already for the weekend and then be prepared when we meet next time for things that you want clarifications to, that you're not quite clear. What I suggest you do is, for instance, Wiley Plus. Everybody go to Wiley Plus. In Wiley Plus, right, you can still go and look at all the chapters we look at. Let's go to security. In chapter 4, in the security, every chapter is the same. Remember, you have your security adaptive assignment right above the security adaptive assignment. You see what's listed there, Chase? Oh, no. Chase was supposed to be monitoring, right? Chase, are
No,
you
I
there?
am sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So you see that flashcards, Chase?
Yeah, I do.
So if you click on those flashcards, what's nice about that when you're preparing for the exam, and in this case, you could then, if you want, it depends on how you are. Some people love to work with others. Some people love to work by themselves. It's up to you. The only difference is I've always said in our assignments, you always can help each other, but in essence, you have to do your work, but you can get help. In the exam, Chase, you may want to put a note is not only is it not open notes, it is not working together in a team. It will be individual and it will be timed. You will be able in the multiple choice to go back and forth. You know how sometimes multiple choice, they restrict you. I like to be able to go back and forth because sometimes I'll skip one question or sometimes one question will help me with another. So you will be able. But what you can do for all of in the flashcards, you can pick a chapter. I'll do information security. And you see here where it says quiz. You'll have a number of quiz questions. In addition, quiz questions that could be similar to what you get in the exam. So here, controls that restrict individual unauthorized from gaining access. They give you the idea. You check it. You submit. Let's say I put, in this case, restricting unauthorized. Let's say here, from gaining access. Let's say I press this. I need to know what a secure socket layer is. I submit, and it says I'm incorrect. If I say, in this case, exposure, right, I can pick it, and then I can pick, and I say, okay. So then you can basically go through that. That's one area you can do, and also the PowerPoints. If I go back, right, and you can see what it's like. If I go back, you can see, for instance, under Introduction to Information Security, you click on any of it and you'll be able to see, right, what is information security? Why do you have problems with information security? And then you get a chart like this. At the end of the chapter, and go all the way to the end, what I like to do is you have a summary. So what I would do is I would basically look at the summary, identify the 5 factors that contribute to increasing the vulnerability of information resources. It tells me what are these factors, compare and contrast human mistakes and social engineering, discuss 10 types of deliberate attacks, describe 3 risk mitigations, and identify 3 major types of controls. So I go through that. Questions? Do I have any questions, Chase, in the
I mean, just
chat?
there was a further one from Luke. It was a while ago though. He asked like how much the grade counts for, but it was answered by Samuel, about 20%.
Right. You mean
But
the
that's it.
test? Yeah.
Yep.
And then it depends on what we do. between the multiple choice and the open-ended. That I haven't determined. You know, it depends. But they will both count. Okay.
Is
Yes.
there like an average that most people
Let's
get
not worry
wrong?
about that
Okay.
right now. Let's concentrate, Luke, about what is, and it's like back testing, Luke. What was in the past doesn't necessarily mean what's going to be in the
I
future.
know, I'm just
You
scared.
understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of being anxious about what was and what is, what I'd say is let's get focused, Luke, and go through these steps. And once you
Okay.
really know the material, then you say, hey, I'm as well prepared as I can be.
Okay,
In the
perfect.
multiple choice, I know what to do because I have all the list of review those topics. I know I have to go through all my quizzes. I know I'm going to go to the end of every chapter, and I know that I can even take flashcards, additional ones, right?
Perfect.
In the open-ended, those open-ended questions, I will choose among those open-ended questions I'm giving you. It will not be out of the, you know, it will be not anything else. Because open-ended, I could ask, you know, so many different things. So I'm trying to focus you, Luke, get this done.
Yeah.
And then I will. And then afterwards, we can discuss whatever you'd like. You understand?
Okay.
We got to keep our anxiety in check and just do it. You know what I mean? We don't have to get each other more anxious than it needs to be. You understand?
Yes.
If everybody is fully prepared, then I'm fully prepared to have everybody, you know, get 100. The only thing in the past I can say is that's never happened. But you never know. This class can be unique. I've seen them rise up, right?
You never
I may
know.
be surprised. So in our back testing, that's all I can tell you. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but I appreciate that you want to do well. Okay, so we got that part done. So let me, so if I looked at, in this case, another thing is if I go back to my PowerPoint and documents, this is what we need to focus in on Luke, is under PowerPoint in 9th edition. You see that? What I focus in, and I go through these PowerPoints, and let's go through. I also, you see here, data management. If you recall, I also went through automated trading systems, algo trading. I gave a specialized PowerPoint there where I talked about automated trading system, what's an algorithm, what's an automated trading system, and what are the pros and cons of automated trading systems. So I go through additionally, not only the ones from the Wiley book, I go through this PowerPoint also to add on my confidence plus those readings about automated trading systems. I also have my Rainier security, right? And in the security as well, I would go and open up the PowerPoint for my Rainier PowerPoint for my, just like I did before, for my outline. So in this case, we think about information security is the key. Basically, think about, in this case, Luke, the university now is going crazy over security. Have you ever gotten any emails from the university about security? Luke?
Yes.
All the time. And why is it? They're really scared because they're going to be hacked. All the credit card information is going to be taken. The healthcare information is going to be on the dark web being sold. They're afraid. So what do they do? What are they doing? They're giving us, we have to sign into Blackboard. Even somebody just sent me, they said my Duo Mobile isn't working. And they just sent me, I can't get even into the class because why? You get in usually through the class via Blackboard, and via Blackboard, they ask you for the Duo Mobile, right? Where I would say, I'm even getting on via YouTube, right? There's nothing I'm hiding here. There's nothing so special. that I want to, that's so secure, the whole world can see my class, right?
Mm.
But we would like it, as long as I don't have to grade the whole world, right? And they're not giving certificates, right? Because one of the things is the advantage is you get to have a grade and you get to be a graduate, right? But other than that, why not share the information, right? That's how the world is. Basically, all of education should be redone, right? With AI and so forth, maybe really for a lot of things, you don't need me. We can have a AI bot basically take each person that has different problems. So for instance, Jericho, if you had that problem in Ninja Trader, wouldn't it have been great to have an avatar kind of run you through it, and that AI said, you know what you forgot? You forgot just to turn on connect to the data or something, who knows what you did. But wouldn't it be great that you had that and you could be sitting there for hours and hours not knowing how to get out of this maze? And if somebody would just, what do you care if it's a machine or not, or a bot? If it would be able, I don't care. If it would help me solve my problem, I would want it, wouldn't you? So that's how things are changing. So now we have to think about security controls, and in security controls, you need to know that what are we scared about is not only our physical security, right? That when I basically go out, that I have to make sure that I walk in groups. I don't want to go in at nighttime. I don't want to go into spooky alleys or something. Did you hear in Miami Beach now there's, which, is shootings going around. I don't want to be maybe going down places there during spring break. I don't know. So the degree, and basically the whole idea is now information security is going to be vulnerable, especially because we're on the internet. You need to know what a threat is, how I'm exposed, what are the vulnerabilities. That's going to be key here of those factors for security. So you can go through it, and basically, let me just go show you this through the book. If I go to Wiley Plus, and in Wiley Plus, I go to chapter 4, and in Wiley Plus, let me just go to here. This chart is great in the way that I have what they call unintentional threats. Unintentional means that I can do an unintentional threat, right? Because I clicked on something, and basically I didn't have malicious intention to do anything wrong. So you need to know the difference between unintentional threats to information systems, and they've divided this up in two parts. Outside threats come outside the organization. So outside threats could be outside the university. And I always have this symbol, and this symbol represents what in this case, Jericho? It's like a cloud. It means what? That I'm gaining access via a browser to the internet. And what can I have? You can see that I can have hackers coming to take the network down, because guess what? Are we part of when we are on the Wi-Fi of the university, we're on the university network. And I'm going to ask you, Audrey, can they follow me? When I log in, I'm on campus and I log into the university network. Do they have the rights to follow what I do? I need to hear you.
Yeah, they do.
They do, because we're doing voice to text. We're going to do audio here. We can even I'll do after the break, we'll do podcasts. Have you ever done a podcast, Audrey?
No, I haven't actually.
So great. So we'll learn how to do podcasts. So we can basically take all our material from almost YouTube, doing it from Zoom to YouTube Live, and we can basically make a playlist and make podcasts. We'll learn how to do that as well. So in terms of, we want to be able, so that's why I want you to always unmic yourself when I talk, because we want to do the voice to text, right? So in this case, we have the internet here of a cloud. We can do this. And if I look here, these are a natural disaster can be an outside threat. And in this case, a natural disaster can be like a hurricane, an earthquake, man-made. It could be a power outage. Did you hear AT&T this week had a power outage. So we could have a fire, we could have other accidents. And right here, you can think about it, is the corporate local area network. This is where we're going to have, in this case, our network from, for instance, our university. And who can be a threat here? Basically, employees can be a threat. Students can be a threat, right? And in this case, outside, if we have contractors here, can be a threat. We can have hardware can be threats. We can have system software failures. We can have leakage, operators. These are all possible threats. And those possible threats, then, we need to know the term, and you'll need to know it for your test, is social engineering. You need to know that term. That term of social engineering is basically, Roberto, is an idea where a person tries with social skills to get legitimate information. Somebody befriends you, Roberto, and really wants, or they purport to be somebody they're not, or they say, you know what, Roberto, let me take you out to lunch, and then they have somebody and you're sitting in front of a computer, they go in front of your computer and get information. So you need to know what social engineering is, and this table 1 you should know. So when you're asking me, Luke, on what you should do, instead, let's concentrate on what you do, is basically we can make human mistakes. These are unintentional, table 4.1. So table 4.1 is unintentional, and then we can have deliberate threats. Those are people that are malicious, that they really, it's not that I clicked on the wrong link, but rather somebody's trying then to spy, somebody's trying to get my identity threat, there's software attacks. All of these are what we call deliberate threats. And among deliberate threats, you can read through it, and this is what you need to know. Roberto, write it down, table 4.2. So write down, you need to know for the exam, table 4.2, software attacks. So you should know, look how it's divided up. Remote attacks requiring user action. So that's a virus, a worm, a phishing attack. Phishing attacks are basically agencies that want to acquire sensitive information, looking like it's an official email from the university or from a bank. Spear phishing is that they're trying, not only one, they're trying to target large groups of people. So it's just they're trying like a play on words of phishing versus I'm doing it with a spear. And whaling attacks is I'm looking for high value individuals. You know, it's like those women sometimes that go to those bars and look for the guys that are out of towners with Rolexes and looks like they're looking for trouble. You know, they're basically looking for those whales. And then you have remote attacks needing no user action. That's a denial of service or distributed denial of service. And what's frightening about this is they have what they call bots, software attacks that come from computers, which will try to attack different servers of companies. And why is the university so paranoid? And a lot of times they're paranoid because they really are out to get us. Is that, did you know, Roberto, if we're on the network, we're all on the network, and let's say we all have our laptops, and basically an intruder, if they get into that network, what they want to do is they don't want to take information from my laptop or your laptop. What they want to do is place a software bot on my laptop, your laptop, and 1,000 of them, our computers can be used to attack other computers, and we're not even aware of it. So they use us as like soldiers, and we're not even aware of it. And then you have attacks by a programmer developing a system. So you need to know the difference between what's a Trojan horse, what's a backdoor, and what's a logic bomb. And this is basically set by programmers to attack the system that we're not even aware of. Some of them are a logic bomb that may be timed. Maybe a disgruntled employee says, before I leave the university, I want to destroy something. So you need to know table 4.2. What else is, once we have all these attacks that I'm scared of, what I want then, Jamie Oliver, is what I want is that the institution or the organization has to protect. It's just like you and your family. You have to protect your own house. You have to protect your own car. You want to lock the doors, right? The same thing is organizations have to figure out what information resources they have and then how to keep them safe. And basically, when they keep it safe, what they need to do is there's something called risk. There's always risk. There's always the enterprise risk. There's always going to be risk. The question is how much risk will you accept? This is what you need to do, these things. And let me just, maybe it's easier to see it on the PowerPoint. Social engineering, we talked about deliberate threats. Remote, we talked about. This is what you need to do. This is key, Jamie Oliver. We need to know a risk is the probability that a threat will impact our information resource. So we know there's a risk that they may try to hack into our computer system. We have to analyze how valuable our information is. And then we need, Jamie Oliver, to do what we call risk mitigation. And what do you think risk mitigation means, Jamie Oliver?
I think it means making the risk as least
Right, reducing it. How could you do it? Like in a car, is what would you do to minimize and mitigate the risk for somebody stealing your car?
lock the door.
Same thing, right, lock the door. So it's the same thing that they're putting locks everywhere with the software to mitigate the risk. And there's something that you need to do too. So this is the key. What organizations are doing to protect your information resources. You need to know, Roberto. And then how do I mitigate the risk? Jamie Oliver. So how do I mitigate? One is I'll accept the risk. That means I'll decide that I'm going to accept the risk, and when I'll absorb any damage to it. So it's like this idea. If all I have on my laptop are PowerPoint slides and Word documents, Jamie Oliver, I'll accept the risk and say, okay, they'll take my PowerPoint. Risk limitation means that I want to minimize, I want to take actions, just like you say, and let's lock the doors, let's put in Duo Mobile, let's put in passwords to limit the risk. And what do you think, Jamie Oliver, is risk transference? We're transferring the risk to another party. I can have a car and I could possibly get in an accident. On my own, I could possibly drive down US 1 and not pay attention that the light turned red and I could slam into another car in front of me. I was just thinking about something. I was thinking, oh, I got to go to class. I have to go online. I have to do this. I miss my great class. I could be thinking about what am I going to eat? And so how do I transfer risk when I'm in a car? Jamie Oliver,
Could you like put
think
your
about it.
put
What
your
does everybody have
seatbelt
to do when they drive a car? They have to have a license, and what else to be on the state of Florida? What if I crash into somebody?
on? Insurance?
Insurance, exactly. So risk transference, it could be that the university says, you know what, we may be hacked, and if we are hacked, let's get insurance for it. Do you think there's insurance for security? There is. And we're willing to pay for it because, you know, once we're there, then we're gonna have to pay somebody to get our information back or whatever. So those are information. So besides doing then that idea, and you see here, Samuel, this is where information systems auditing goes through. And basically the auditors, those systems auditors, would tell us where is the enterprise vulnerable. And what do we want to do if we're vulnerable? We want to put in always controls. Right, Samuel? That's part of accounting, right? It's putting in controls, making it harder for violations to occur. So you need to know this. We have physical controls, we have access controls, and we have communication controls. Physical controls would be just like Jamie Oliver was telling me, we have locks, we have doors, just like in the dorms, right? Those of you that live in the dorms, right? What do they tell you? Lock the doors. Can any schmo walk in? They say, no, that's, after a certain period of time, we want to make large, we want to have guards. We want to have alarm systems. You all know that, right? So we have to do that. So these are the differences. You need to know the differences between what are physical controls and what are access controls. Access is getting into the system, right? The passwords, we have communication controls in communicating. So you can see here where those are located, right? And you can see through this, you can see here, as soon as I start getting through the internet, I have issues. We create firewalls. Who knows what's coming from inside, outside, from outside the country. And then we know we can have a possibility. We have what we call business continuity. My business continuity planning is my disaster recovery. I have to figure out if there's a disaster, if there's a hurricane, possibly what can be is a hot site means there's going to be another campus ready to go. If Amazon gets earthquake in their San Francisco office, they'll have another site in, let's say, Chicago, or they'll have another site in Canada or Mexico. A warm site means it takes a while until they get up and running, and a cold site, they have a facility, but it's going to take a while until they get up and running. And so my access control is who is authenticated, what's their authorization, what is authentication, basic guidelines for passwords, communication controls, that I have firewalls, I have encryption, I can do what they call virtual private networking, VPNs, that basically bypass my make it more encryption. And how does it work? And this is VPN, where it creates a tunnel that my data is encrypted via a lot of times when I'm just on the internet, my data is not encrypted. Everybody can grab on that data and read. Okay. And then if I go to my web links, and I go to my virtual desktop, the idea is, what is a virtual desktop, Jeremy? A virtual desktop then happens to be what? It's my desktop, not on my machine, but via another server. So if I click on this, and Jericho, you with me?
Yep.
So click on that link. And we'll try it again real quick. So if I click on that link and I go to student VDI, I'm just going to allow it. And it's making a connection. You need to know that. And it's giving my credentials because those are like controls, right? Not everyone can get onto the system. I get a separate area on the hard drive of the system that will give me a Windows operating system that I discovered before. And I want to use NinjaTrader 64-bit, and I want to open it. And hopefully, Jericho, you're doing the same. If I get an error, I just exit out. I don't care. They just didn't do a good job of putting that together, but I'm just in simulated mode, so I don't care about it. And at this point, right, I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to move this a bit. And now I want to do what, Jericho? You go by Jerry or Jericho?
Both fine.
Which one do you want?
Jericho.
Jericho. So Jericho, what do I have to do first? Is I have to make a connection to my data, because always my data, and I'm always going to go kinetic end of day. And if I hear this, I know that I'm good. Now, I'm going to show you a different way to do it without a chart, Jericho. The first assignment. I'm going to do it a bit different. And I'm going to go and I'm going to do the first assignment and the second assignment in a few minutes. So it's a little bit different. Before we did new chart, right, Jericho? Yes? Tell me yes or no. You're listening to me. This time I want to go to new, and everybody can try it out. Go to new and go to strategy analyzer. And as Spencer told us, let me just move this a little bit. That if I wanted before, if I did, I have strategy analyzer right here. You see that, Jericho? Did you get that?
Yep. I'm on the same page as you right now.
Perfect. Let me show you how you can do the first exercise. Right now, you see how everything is zeros here?
Mm-hmm.
Audria, you see how there's zeros here? Are you there?
Oh, yeah, I do.
You see zeros?
Mhm.
Automatically, you would think I wasn't connected to data. But in the strategy analyzer, put a note there. In the strategy analyzers, if you get zero, check to see if your green light is on, which it is. But I haven't chosen in a strategy analyzer, I have to choose a symbol, or what they call an instrument, or many symbols. So Jericho, I'm going to do the first assignment. You're going to do the first assignment with me. So we're going to do a back test, which we did, right? What strategy? Pull down strategy. What strategy are we going to use? We use the same one every time.
Oh.
I have a choice. It says sample ATM or sample MA crossover or sample multi-instrument or sample multi-frame. What sounds familiar?
None of them are ringing a bell right now.
MA
Well, they
crossover.
better be. What was the thing that I told you needed to do? One of the questions was moving average. You see anything that looks like moving average there?
Yep.
Which one?
Wait, Oh, I just lost it. No, never mind.
Under strategy.
All right, I've got it.
You got it? We want to use sample moving average. The initials of moving average is what? Sample MA crossover. We want to keep it at 1025. Is that correct, Audria?
Correct.
And in the instrument, we can pick just a symbol. I'm going to pick Del. You can pick whatever you want, or you can go what? You can go to, basically, you can go to NASDAQ 100 and look for it, or you can go to S&P 500 and pick one. I'm going to pick Dell. Last is good, but it says here minute. Is that good, Jericho?
No,
What should it be?
should be that.
Day. So switch it to day. Now, at this point, the start date says 1/10/25 to 2/27. For our exercise, how many days do we want?
A year.
A year. So I'm going to go, the first one, I'm going to go back a year to what? To February.
Mm-hmm.
And then today is the 28th. So I'll do, it did 27. So I'll just do, I'll do 27. So it's 365. And at this point, it says, set up. This all looks good to me. And what should I do to run it?
Let's run.
And now, if I go into the top here, let me move this. I see that it's in percentage, right? I make sure that this strategy analyzer is in percent, and you see that my all trades is 36%. Here, my long trades were good, my short trades were bad, and what do I have to do? I just then export it to Excel.
For the first assignment, what should I like export? Which is actual cell I should.
What?
Oh, for the first assignment, which one is the like information that I should export?
Right here. Just right click on this strategy analyzer panel and just right click and just say export.
Oh, all right, the whole thing.
Yeah, of course. And then I tell it what? I tell it that I used, in this case, it gives me the date and time, so I know that I did SMA 10/25. I got Dell, and what did it say its amount was? I should have remembered, but let's say it's 38%. And then at this point, I tell it, give it my name. And I copy this to my clipboard. You see, Audria, it's the same thing before. I'm just not using a chart. And I'm using one symbol. And it opens up Excel. And what do I have to do for this? I insert, I highlight the first row. I'm going to insert. Right at this point, I'm going to paste what I had in there. It says Dr. Rush. And this, I made a mistake here. This should say not 38, it should say 37. I'm going to highlight this line right here. It's 36%, which is good overall. I'm going to make at this point, I'm going to change this 38, and it really is 37%. And at this point, I'm going to rename my sheet to basically Dell. 37%. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do File, Save As. And Audrey, where am I going to save it? Easy, save it to my OneDrive of the University of Miami, and then I can upload it to what I want. Questions, Jericho? That's the first exercise that's due tonight at midnight.
All right. Yep. No questions. Thank you.
Now, Audria, that was back test for a single, I'm not going to save it because I've done it already. That was, Audria, that was back test for a single company. Our next assignment for Monday is to do a back test for many symbols and let it find the best, right? So what should I do? I remain with back test. Which strategy am I going to use, Samuel?
Are you gonna use the?
I'm going to use the same strategy. Among all my
Right.
assignments, I use the same strategy. So put that in your notes. For our assignments, because you're going to need to know it for the open-ended. Why am I spending time on it? It's not just to get everybody. Some people have already done this assignment, but we did it and we don't have a full understanding, right? So the strategy is going to be the same. We're going to use the sample moving average crossover strategy. So we're going to keep that the same. And for the back test, we're going to keep the parameters, the 10 and 25, the same. Samuel. The difference for our next one, you see the instrument, I have Dell. We're going to be efficient. You're an efficient auditor, Samuel. You don't want to go through each company and do pick and choose. You want the computer where you're going to give it a list of a number of symbols to give you then a table via descending order from the top most profitable to the least most profitable. So instead of Dell, we're going to change it to a select number of symbols together. So let's say we're going to do NASDAQ 100. In NASDAQ 100 then, Roberto, how many symbols should I have approximately?
100.
100. So instead of picking, let's try by ourselves, Roberta, let's try Apple. You try Adobe. I'll try Amazon. We'll try basically all of these one at a time. There's got to be a better way to do that. Let the system, the automated trading system platform, do it for us. Audrey, does that make sense?
Yes.
So tell me what the difference is. The last one we did one symbol. This one we're going to do back testing on the same strategy with fast 1025. We're using a group of those symbols. And we're going to see how it does for those single parameters back in time for how long? A year. So at this point, I could just choose Adobe and it'll just be one symbol. But rather than that, what do I want to do, Audria?
You want to do a whole bunch of symbols.
I want to select all. So the difference between that first exercise and the second is here, it just says instrument. Instead of Dell, it says NASDAQ 100. And the beauty is, since we just did this, Audria, for the first one, it already has it for my 1 year. Last time I showed you via the chart, you remember? But you could do the first assignment and the 2 parts on this using just Strategy Analyzer. I'm giving you kind of like a little nugget that I didn't before. And now what should I do? I just run it. And instead of going through one run, it goes, because I have a couple of symbols that are variations, it goes through it 104 times. So Roberto, isn't that a lot easier than we going through this 100 times?
Definitely, yeah.
Isn't that cool? Sure is. And now it's giving me percentages. But at this point, it's just, and put this in your notes, Jericho, as well. When I'm doing it as a back test in numbers here, this is a quirk in Strategy Analyzer. Put this in your notes. In the top pane, it says percentages, but it really just gives me, look at this gross profit, Roberto. It says 579. And that is not good because I can't make comparisons. So what I want to do is I want to change, and it doesn't have that problem in the one symbol, but in many symbols, I want to change my summary. I'm going to change it to currency. And now I want to change it back to percentage. It's a quirk. It's an error in the symbol. And now if I look at it, I want to look at my total net profit. It's now all reds. I want to click on this column to make it from the most positive to the most negative. And look what I get. DXCM is my top. And how, in this case, I'm on this top pane then, Jericho. So how can I export? I just have to right click. And where should I go? I should go to export. And in my export, instead of my Ninja Trader here, I'm going to add then that I'm using then SMA 1025, but I'm using NASDAQ 100. And then it was, I give it the name, the DXCM or whatever. I give it the percent and blah, 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 and my name. I just want to go really through this really quick right now because I want to show you the second part. So what's the second part I need to do of my next one is not back test, Audria, but what? Optimization. You see that, Audria? And what's the difference between backtest and optimization is backtest uses, put this in your notes, backtest uses the same parameters of 1025. Optimization allows you to give a minimum and a maximum range. For instance, I'm just going to make it up. You can give it whatever you want. Let's say 5 and 10, and the slow, I'm going to make 20 and 25. So it's going to do several combinations. So in general, if I asked you a true false, Audria, where would you get more when it would run, where would you get more? In an optimization or in a back test?
In an optimization.
Of course. And in this case, if I ran it, it's doing 3,744. Do you want to go through 3,744? I don't.
So can you repeat that one more time about how optimization allows you to give A
Because
minimum
I'm
and
giving a
maximum?
range. You remember how we did 10-25? Audria, we did 10-25, right? The slow was, the fast was doing 10 periods, the moving average, and the slow was 25 periods. In this case, we want the system to say, what happens when it's 5:20? What happens when it's 6:20? What happens when it's 7:20? What happens when it's 8:20? All the different combinations between 5 and 10 and 20 and 25.
Got it.
So we got 3,700. If you made it larger, you'd have even more. And does it take you any more time? No. And then what do I want to go? Now it's in percent, so I'm okay because I did the last one in percent, so I'm good. I don't have to play around. You always want to look at your profit and see, is it percent in the upper one? And now what do I want to do? I want to go to my total net profit. And what do I want to do? I want to go from descending order. So I get another mRNA is 112%. And then I do what? I export and write it down. And I would, when I ran. Did that help, Audria? Yes, no?
Yes.
So these are things that you need to understand what you're doing in order to write about it for the test, right? People saying, I'm going to memorize. What are you going to memorize? If you don't understand it, there's nothing to memorize. So now I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to go back and I want to close out. Right? I finished this. Let's say I finished. I saved everything. I can close. It says, do you want to your workspace? I say no. Now what I want to make sure is of course, I saved it to my university, my OneDrive. I go to power to make it nice. I go to my power right here. You see the power and I disconnect. If not, if you haven't disconnected, it will disconnect after so many minutes you didn't use it. So, Jericho, okay?
Yep.
So if you can't get the chart, you could have done the same thing with new chart for that first exercise. If you can't, we didn't show it last time. You just can go to strategy analyzer and just pick one symbol. And then later on, you can do like NASDAQ 100 or you can do S&P or Dow 30. So questions before I take attendance. You calm down, Luke,
Yes,
a little bit.
a little bit.
Once you get a little bit, let's not but once you go through the system, you go through all those notes, you go through, did you do Monday's assignment?
Yeah, I just didn't submit it yet, but I did it during last class. I don't know why.
Okay,
I didn't submit
perfect.
it. Yeah.
And was it positive?
Yeah, it was positive. It was
Okay, so everything worked. So
42%.
now what you can do is now you can go through the sheets and study for it and even redo the Ninja Treader just for the heck of it to understand what you were doing, right?
Yeah.
And then you come on Monday and you ask, Dr. Rush, these are my issues. Can you explain this?
Uh-huh.
So
Got it.
everybody's prepared rather than saying that nobody has questions because nobody studied. You know what I mean? If you haven't done it, it's easy not to do it. You know what I mean? Not to
Yeah.
have questions if you don't understand what you don't even understand, right? I haven't gone through the material, so I don't even know. But I've given you everything. You understand? And then we'll worry about when everybody gets 100. And I'm a full tenure professor, so maybe I have a little more clout that I said, I couldn't help it. Everybody just is so perfect in my class. I can't, there's nothing to curve, right? Because everybody says, is there a curve? It depends on, you can curve the other way. So anyways, anything else? Chase, do I need anything to address anybody? on the chat?
No, everyone's all good.
Everyone's all good. So how great is that?
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Okay, so we'll take attendance on this fantastic loop here. I see a lot of people don't have their part. And Henry, I'm glad that you got in. What
Yeah,
happened?
yeah, I got the email. I just got my email back too from the IT department. So my dual
Okay,
mobile
and what
working.
happened?
Well, the dual mobile like wasn't working, and the only way I could reconnect it was by using a dual mobile code or
See,
like
isn't
contacting
that a pain?
IT.
And
So
then this is exactly, Henry, what the problem is of all
yeah.
those securities that sometimes they're preventing us to do our own work.
Mm-hmm.
Because what is so precious here that, you know what I mean? That,
Yep.
you know, that we couldn't, it doesn't look like everybody's clamoring to be in the class. We got to prevent everybody, right? Where we can't,
Yeah.
it's such a secret. We have the secret sauce in here that everybody's trying to clamor for the class. It just takes us time to even we never even get a full class where everybody's registered, let alone outsiders. But anyways, but you can see your point. Let me put another note. If you ever go ahead and tell me, always put in the subject line which section you're in. Because I wasn't even sure that you were in this you know what I mean? You were in this section, and I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we worked it out. That's the main thing. So let me share the screen, take attendance, stay with me afterwards. Otherwise, we will happily, right, meet next time. We'll do check-in, start check-in, and everyone will 3849.
Professor.
Yes.
Hey, this is Arnold. I don't know.
3842. Yes, Arnold.
I don't know if you saw the email.
Let's do this after everybody checks in. Arnold, stay with me, and then I will I don't want this recorded. Okay. So, but stay on with me. I will address everything, Arnold.
Have a good day. Bye. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You understand, Arnold? It's like the need to know. So I'll address all your issues.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you. I'll wait.
Doesn't it make sense? You know what I
Yes.
mean? This doesn't need to be in the recording.
Perfect.
You understand? It's not that I don't want to address your issue. It's the opposite. Okay, 3842 is everyone. Michelle, do you have anything?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about this.
Okay, so if you want to talk to me, okay. Arnold and you. Okay, so I'm going to end check-in. Have you, Michelle, did you put in your...
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to end check-in. I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to stop, make sure you see